I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after. Can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. Of what a good day is.
All right, y'all, we're back at it.
And that's exactly what the day
Y'all know what to do. It's that time. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We about to get into it. Oh my gosh. It's Friday and we are ending the week on a crazy note, by the way. Good Lord have mercy. How's everybody doing this morning? Let me see how we looking. Woo! All crispy and clean on the screen. Oh my goodness. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, Classy Beats of ClassyBeats.com. Today, we're going to get into a great show. Man, Judge Whitaker is already up here popping off. Shout out to Judge Whitaker. We had to pivot a little bit. Originally, we were going to cover what was going on with the Naziah Harris trial. Can't find the arraignment anywhere. Unfortunately, they're not live streaming the arraignment, so we'll keep up to date on that and figure it out. We're going to be covering YSL, and if we have some breaks here and there, I've got some other things we have to talk about. What's going on between Fannie and Trump? It's an all-out war as usual. And then we've got some other things we're going to talk about with the Naziah Harris trial as well. But before I get into it, let me say what's up to the people in the building. Who we got in here? Of course, awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Shout out to Amy. We've got Les Cleaver in here as well. We've got Elaine Hafsalah, Forever a Loner. Good to see you. Valencia, Jay Kelman, Slayer Main, Mary, Tanya, Red Bunny, Ryan, Life, with Tay, Justly Michi, African Queen is in the building, okay? Shout out to Michi. NATO Storms is in here early in the morning. Laura NATO, what are you doing up this early? My goodness. We've got, who else is in the building? I know I missed some of y'all. We've got Alejandra, Monterisa, Deborah Lewis, Kel Bell, the Honorable Attorney Kel Bell, Nosy Rosie. We got Brandon, Maricela. There it is. Aretha. I almost missed it. We got Mo Mac back at it. Miss Verche. Shoni is in here. Mike Pena. Or Mike Pena. It's probably Mike Pena, but I'll say it either way. We've got Tada is in the building. Miss 86. Okay, we're going to get into it because court is already underway. And I know y'all want to get into this YSL trial. But before we do, y'all saw on the screen, and some of y'all were saying congratulations as well. Shout out to the gang. It is official. We officially hit 100,000 subscribers. Crazy. I'm not gonna celebrate just yet. I know I'm gonna be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. I'm not gonna celebrate just yet, but I do want to show y'all appreciation and thank you to everybody who's been showing major support, who helped us get to 100K and beyond. It's a great thing to see. I'll definitely, once I get the play button from YouTube, I will be opening it here and showing it to y'all live whenever that happens. Either way, thank y'all for 100K subscribers. Hey, I still can't believe it. It hasn't really hit. I was running around this morning trying to get things done for the show. Amy's like, "You're not gonna celebrate?" I said, "I can't. I don't have time to celebrate." But shout out to Amy. Thank you for the love. Y'all see her in the comment as well. She said, "Huge congratulations on hitting 100K on YouTube. I'm so incredibly proud of you, love." Thank you so much, Amy. And Amy had a major part in everything that we're doing here as well. So I appreciate you. And it wouldn't have been possible without you. That's for sure. We've got Les Cleaver in here. He just became a platinum member. Oh my gosh. Also, he dropped the super chat as well. Says, "Thank God it's Friday. I pray each of you have a blessed day and weekend. This trial will be emotional for some or all." He's talking about the Naziah Harris trial. Remember, God has this and justice will prevail. That's a fact. Also, Michi in here with the 2-bomb says, "Good morning, 100K before the end of the day." She was in here early and then she said, "Congratulations on 100K. Thank you, Michi. Also, we've got Just Lee in there celebrating with the 5-bomb. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to everybody who's saying congratulations in there as well. I'll be reading super chats throughout the show as well. The number one way y'all can support the channel is by liking the video though. So if you could take a second, like the video, it really does help the channel continue to grow and it lets the algorithm know y'all are enjoying the show and it shares the video with more people. Let's see what Judge Whitaker is talking about. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not going to hold y'all up anymore because this pre-trial press conference is going to be an interesting one. Here we go.
Let me out. You need to have the day before. And the attorneys are supposed to provide the close. If the family members want to come, the family
got Judge Whitaker back
to
at
the
it.
sheriff's office. Because we need to be getting court started.
I really hate that 11 Alive is playing that music in the background. So let's see if we can skip ahead through the music.
When we were here in December,
we have only had the...
Is it still going?
you bring that to the court's attention.
All right, hold on. Y'all give me 1 second. Let's go over here to Fox 5 because that is annoying. Oh my gosh. Their sound is really bad though, so I might have to turn it up. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's rewind it a little bit. Law and Crime was supposed to be live, but they started super late. Let me see. And thank y'all for the super chats too. I'll be reading those throughout the show.
To me about that leave when we were here in December.
No, Your Honor, I sent it to... But if worst case scenario...
I'm happy to give you some funds so that you can go out and buy.
All right, we're going to stick with Fox 5 for now. We're going to get it right eventually, y'all. Ooh, their sound is really low.
What do you, at this stage, having had understanding about things?
That's going to consolidate and shorten the trial immensely.
Here we go.
I've reduced that down to 63 overt acts.
Okay.
And
I wanted y'all to hear the beginning, but it seems like nobody's got their stuff together today, which, hey, I understand.
Previous trial that Your Honor presided over.
Mm-hmm.
And as I continue to redact the indictment, there may be a few overt acts that I can also erase based on the fact that Mr. Mender did take a plea on Monday or Tuesday of this week. So But I will have the redacted indictments, Your Honor, first thing
What
Monday
I'm trying to-
morning, Your Honor.
All right. Do the defense attorneys have this somewhat confusing before?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
In light
Okay.
of
Is it any less confusing
recent
to
case
y'all
law
than it is to
regarding
me?
I can help.
Each having had,
third,
I.e.
I
one, and then there's an act.
I did a follow-up.
The Boxes Act. Those are all the acts. that
And
we can
everybody's
report on
got
count
issues
one.
with their
Okay.
feeds today.
If you flip to page 3.
So we're gonna try this one from 11 to live. If
Email
that
over
static
text
gets on
messaging.
y'all's
I finally
nerves,
heard back
let me
in the middle
know.
of that week. He said he needed a little
Thank you,
more
Dr.
time,
EJ.
And then it came through by the end of that point. I understand your Honor's position that more communication would have been ideal. I could approach and tell you some other factors, but that doesn't quite matter for our purposes here today. Ultimately, Judge, once we got it, the priority was to jump into it just to make sure of what there was and to start assessing that and sort out what belonged to Mr. Garlington.
what do you, at this stage, having had 5 days to assess the narrowed evidence, suspect that your motions in limine are going to entail?
Judge, I just wanted to, there are several, at least I think several videos, including Mr. Garlington, that look like YouTube videos of some form. I just want to review them in light of recent case law regarding presentation of lyrics and things like that to see if
And
that
that's
was
Demekion
if it reports or
Garlington's
not.
lawyer.
That would be the biggest issue I want
Does
to
the
look
sound
at a
is
bit more
good?
closely.
Okay.
All right, I need that filed by Monday at noon.
Understood, Judge. Thank you.
What else? You think there's going to be anything else?
Not that I can think of, Judge.
Okay. Anybody else? No motions in limine for anybody else? All right.
No, it's Judge Whitaker.
I need you to speak into the mic, identify yourself and your party.
Attorney Eric Johnson for Mr. Christian Eppinger, Your
All
Honor.
right.
I would just ask to join in the co-counsel's argument in this particular matter as it relates to the discovery in this case and be allowed to till Monday to file them as well.
What motions are you anticipating filing?
Uh-oh.
At the present time,
Popping
Your
off
Honor.
already.
Pick up your mic and speak into it.
At the present time, Your Honor.
Thank you. That is so much better.
Thank you. I can't say at the present time I've not finished the recitation of we're going through all of the condensed version of the evidence, but I would just ask for leave till
Okay,
Monday.
y'all realize the condensed version of the evidence is less evidence than it was before. You already should know the entire universe of
Lord.
the evidence and know, okay, if this evidence is still going to be presented, here is the motion in limine that I need to file to address it.
Well-
So you shouldn't still need, you should be able to tell me it's going to be these three or this one, or maybe it won't be any because that evidence isn't here yet. You shouldn't just now be like, I think I need to figure out what to do with this evidence.
No, I'm not saying that I need to figure out what to do with the evidence, Your Honor. However, in order to provide proper representation for my client, I have to go through all of the additional evidence to make sure that it's the same as the first evidence, to make sure that there's nothing been included
Crazy.
that was not in the first part of the evidence.
Let's pause for a minute. Is there any new evidence
at-
that wasn't included in?
I'm about to do Judge Whitaker so dirty right now. Yo, look at this face. She is fed up already. Look at this face she makes as soon as she turns to the camera.
was-
Hold on.
In the first
I
part,
gotta
that
run
it's the
that
same as the first evidence, to make sure that there's nothing been included that was not in the first part of the evidence.
Hold on a second. Here it goes. Here it goes. Look at it. Look at it. She said, pause for a second. Hold on. I'm going to fast forward it.
These niggas lacking.
Yeah. Oh, man. Judge Whitaker is done. Look at that face. Already, Judge Whitaker, we just got back. Dang.
New evidence that wasn't included in the last drop of evidence?
No, Your Honor.
There's not any. You don't need to worry about that.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. I'm never going to
And
get that
Mr.
interview
Dark.
with Judge Whitaker.
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to draw the court's attention. I would like to join in the defense request as well for time to file a motion in limine. I did see those same YouTube videos, Your Honor. I have gone through some of them. They do, for the most part, so far what I've seen, look like just music videos, rap lyrics, things like that. But Your Honor, because it's, by my count, I counted just in stuff just related to my client.
This is Christian
250
Eppinger's lawyer.
plus social media posts, and I was still counting, but 118 plus videos that all could or somehow potentially relate to my client with respect to this argument. So, Your Honor, I would just ask for time to
All right.
get through
Got me
all of
over here
those. I
crying.
do also, Your Honor, submitted a motion.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Right.
Okay. So it does not need to be ex parte, and you want funds for an investigator and a gang expert. And here is what, and I know that you were appointed July 19th of 2024, but July 19th of 2024 was 6 months ago at this time. I told you in December that we were looking at a late February trial start, and that you had and would have more than enough time to get your case ready. This should not be the day that you are for the first time saying, oh, you know what, I think I might want some assistance. Let's review, and y'all have all been before
Trying to
Judge
buy
Dempsey
time.
for the last 8, 10, 12 months on this case,
Your Honor,
except for you, who started in July, 6 months for you. And you should have, as soon as you got into the case, reviewed everything that had already gone on in the case. And
She's
in
right.
September of 2023, an order specific to your client was entered by Judge Dempsey saying that defendants pending motions, nobody had done anything on them, and they were not going to be before the court any longer. January of 2024, a scheduling order entered in this case applicable to everyone.
Dang, get him.
The
Get him, Judge
deadline for the
Whitaker.
state, if you interrupt me again, we're going to have a problem, okay? I am talking.
I understand, Your Honor.
The deadline for the state and the defendants to file any additional pretrial.
Yo, hold on, Judge Whitaker. What happened?
If you interrupt me again, we're going to have a problem, okay? I am talking.
I understand, Your Honor.
The deadline for the state and the defendants to file any additional pretrial motions is February 6, 2024. Now, I know you weren't
I
in
like
the case
this.
February 6, 2024, but when July rolled around and you reviewed what had been filed, you at that time in July or early August should have come to Judge Dempsey and said, Judge Dempsey, I'm new in this case and I need funds for an investigator. In May 14th, 2024, Judge Dempsey, no further pretrial motions will be considered by the court.
Dang.
I told you all in December what the deadlines were going to be. And every one of y'all is like, oh gosh, you know what? I think I need more time. I just find that to be problematic. Very problematic. All right, turning to the state here for a minute.
Dang.
I got this morning a chart of what maybe the redacted indictment is going to look like by the time we go to trial. And I'm honestly not sure I even understand it.
Yeah, Amy, you're probably right.
So have y'all been able to redact the indictment yet, or come up with what you think it's going to look like, or what counts you're going forward on?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
I'm working on the actual redacted indictment. It's been time consuming because I'm trying to make it.
Okay. Can I ask a simple question? I hope a simple question that might clarify things for all of us. Do you still plan to go forward on count 1, the RICO count, against anybody?
Yes, Your Honor. But we made, so the very first, I guess, chart that you're looking at on page 1, I believe the original, in count 1, there was 191 overt acts. I've reduced that down to 63 overt acts.
Okay.
And so
Wow,
I think
well, that's good.
That's going to
'Cause the
consolidate
overt
and
acts are
shorten
wild.
the trial immensely as it relates to the previous trial that Your Honor presided over.
Mm-hmm.
And as I continue to redact the indictment, there may be a few overt acts that I can also erase based on the fact that Mr. Mender did take a plea on Monday or Tuesday of this week. But I will have the
She
redacted
popped all the
indictments,
way
Your
out.
Honor, first thing Monday morning, Your Honor.
All right. Do the defense attorneys have this somewhat confusing chart?
Yes, Your Honor,
Yeah?
they do.
Okay. Is it any less confusing to y'all than it is to me?
I can help try. I mean, it's count one, and then there's an act. The box says act. Those are all the acts that we'd be going forward on count one.
Okay.
If you flip to page 3, each one of those contains the actual
Miss Love's
count
not there. She gone.
which each defendant is charged with, and that will, that's what we're going to be moving forward with as it relates to each one of the remaining defendants as it relates to the counts.
Okay, so the first 2 pages are just what count 1 is going to look like, although maybe even shorter.
Yes, Your
And then basically the remaining, the substantive counts, if you will, against each defendant, those are listed on the last page, page 3, and those basically stay the same. Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor. And
Okay.
each one kind of has a short summary as to what each count or each overt act covers as it relates to the previous indictment and the incident or the act.
Okay. All right. And
Amy says she's
have
been
the
watching the
parties
YouTube videos.
exchanged their narrowed witness lists?
We love Judge Whitaker over here.
Not yet. But we can get that done fairly quickly as it relates to each act and
Okay.
fairly.
So this is not really the pretrial conference. This is the pre-pretrial conference.
Oh, no. She's not
Mr.
happy
Dark,
again.
you had said within your
They were supposed to have all this
motion
done
that
already.
You didn't have anything other than names for any of the state's witnesses. Is that accurate? And if that's the case, have you talked to counsel for the state about that?
Pre-trial.
Your Honor, when I look through some of those things, I'm sorry. Your Honor, when I look through some of those things, there are some witnesses that are listed in parts of the discovery where it is a name only, but there are some where more information is provided. I did send an email to Mr. Abadi related to a separate discovery issue where some aspects of the discovery are completely inaccessible to me.
Inaccessible?
I can't open them at all or download them or anything. And so we're trying to work through that. He did tell me that he would either try to reserve it or get me something else, I think today or this week. But, Your Honor, that was the basis for me making my request. I need assistance going through all this
You
stuff.
told me in December you were having some problems with that, and that should have been cleared up in the month between then and now.
Well, the issue with that is from what I understand, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but I can at least speak for Mr. Dark. It doesn't sound like he's been through the original discovery that was served to him, and it all works in that. It was very time consuming for me to then basically do it again, but narrow it by moving it to a different Dropbox link. That took me literally 29 hours is what it says. And Your Honor had given me the deadline for the first full week of January, which the last day of the first full week of January is January 12th, which is when I got it to him.
Okay.
I had my personal issues where I was dealing with the family members, oncologists, and things of that nature. So that was more important, to be perfectly honest, than getting it before the end of the first full week of January. So he's clicking on the link, and he's saying that on the new discovery link for the narrow version, he can go find it in the full one, but I will make sure that I look at the new link and remedy any issues that I learned about this morning, because that's when I learned about the issues, was this morning, I think around 8:30.
There does not seem to be any kind of advanced communication between anybody, between counsel and counsel, between counsel and the court. I mean, communication really does help, because then we know what we're dealing with before we get to court.
Well, Your Honor, to that point, I emailed Mr. Abadi several times prior to today. When I first got on the case, I asked for discovery a few times. There's several emails that have gone unanswered. I understand Mr. Abadi has a heavy caseload. He has personal matters. I have 5 children. I have a heavy caseload as well. But I am simply trying to give my client an actual defense, a robust defense, and I need assistance to do that. So that's the basis of the request. I have no problem going to find anything but I need assistance to do that because unfortunately I don't only have this case. I am appointed counsel in several other courtrooms. I have to speak trial before. Judge Cox, and that client is entitled to defense as well. So, Your Honor, that's the basis of my request, and I know that my client would greatly benefit for just having some assistance on this case.
I turned my mic off. My bad, y'all.
Where it's almost a forced ineffective assistance.
You setting that up right now for us, given what you keep saying? I would really like for you to do that. You should have been working on this case since you got it in July.
I have been.
Right.
Really have. I've been way more than
We're good. I'm
29
back.
hours. I can assure you that.
I would certainly hope so.
I think we all have, but we're still waiting on the 8 terabyte, USB, whatever you want to call
8
it, that we requested
terabytes?
defense counsel, like every other counsel, had to provide. And we've done our best through Dropbox, but the surefire way to make sure everything works is to provide the 8 terabyte USB, whatever they're called, like we've requested, and nothing has gone unanswered. I've responded to each email that defense counsel has, despite the fact that one was sent this morning. That's the only one I haven't been able to respond to.
Can you go ahead and provide the 8 terabyte, whatever it is, so that they can give all the discovery back to you on that?
Your Honor, I think that was partly included as a basis for the request for funds, but if worst case scenario.
I'm happy to give you some funds so that you can go out and buy one of those.
Yes, Your Honor, I would need that, and then I could most certainly.
Even though it is not anywhere in your motion, but
I can
yeah.
make that motion.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Your Honor. In speaking,
This sound
prior
is
you were
gonna
speaking
drive
with
me
regards
crazy.
to the redacted indictment in this matter, and then looking at the charges that are listed for Mr. Eppinger, I'd just like to bring the state's attention that count 35 against Mr. Eppinger was dismissed prior in the earlier trial, prior to his severance in this matter, and I still see it listed as the possible charges here, but that count was
Why is his
dismissed
lawyer
earlier
hiding?
by Judge
Who's his lawyer?
Glanville prior to Mr. Eppinger's severance in this case.
Okay. Y'all check into that? Do you happen to know like a date or was there a written order or anything like that?
It was during the wild commotion of jury selection, Your Honor. I don't remember the exact.
Okay. Well, that'll give them something to look at. Okay.
She's giving him money to buy a
All right,
flash drive.
speaking of jury selection, everybody was supposed to look at the jury questions from the case one that y'all were all involved in for at
8
least a
terabytes
little
is
part of it.
crazy.
And narrow down, tell me what y'all don't need anymore, what you think is, irrelevant. If there was anything that you wanted added, y'all were supposed to have provided those to me by now. I've gotten a very, very short
sync these up.
proposed questionnaire from the state. And is it accurate that that is all that the state wants asked?
That is all. Yes, that's
Okay. And I've gotten nothing from any of the defendants.
Judge, my position on the questionnaire is that the original questionnaire was
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get this live stream.
Defendants.
Judge, my position.
Here we go. Ooh, I timed that perfectly.
The original questionnaire was more than sufficient. I didn't really
Sound should be way better now. I'll turn it up too for y'all.
think that any of the questions
I couldn't do that static. It's wild.
were no longer relevant to the particular defendant, so those would be struck. But otherwise, the format of that, I think, was necessary and sufficient in the case of this magnitude.
Okay, so I'm not sure that we're going to do anything that lengthy. What I envision is potentially having the potential jurors come in and do on kind of a tablet, which we now have newly available from jury services, a series of questions that would be kind of the preliminary things we ask the whole group.
Better? Okay. Good.
And then let y'all follow up as necessary, but after you get the answers. And so the format may change a little bit with regard to exactly how that gets asked. But if nobody has anything new to propose and nothing you particularly want stricken, unless it's, of course, not relevant to a particular defendant, I'll just take a closer look at everything and come up with something that I think is appropriate. And then what is our best time estimate for the trial length at this point?
You might not need this one. Be too loud.
And I'll stick with the 90 days.
90 days, okay.
But I think it's going to be
Okay.
90 days. I think your prediction of 6 weeks may come true.
All right, so tax time is going to be up. Yeah, 8 terabytes of discovery is...
All
oh
right.
my God.
And
it's all the overt acts, though. We know this already.
The jury
Crazy.
that eventually was the jury in the last case was sat from the first, 300 or 400 jurors? 400? No, 500. 500? All right. So and that, at the time, was projected to be a 6-month trial. So if we're talking about a 3-month trial, I cannot imagine we're going to need to pull in more than, I'm thinking 400 jurors at most ought to get us what we need.
Shout out to Dr. AJ.
The state of Breach.
Okay. Anybody on the defense side disagree with that? No objection. Okay. All right. And I mean, obviously, y'all don't need to make a decision at this point in time about whether you wanted to present a defense case or not. But if I say 3 months at the longest, do y'all feel like that's reasonable?
Yes, Mr. Garland.
Okay.
Yes, for Mr. Eppinger. Your
Okay.
Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So
Okay.
we got to look into those charges that were dropped for Christian Eppinger.
All right. Well, I think, Mr. Dark, maybe if you and I want to get together on what kind of funds you need,
His
but
name's
you're going to
Mr.
have to
Dark.
get moving, because at this point, I am not moving our start date for our trial. Okay?
And Your Honor, with respect to what I had was a proposed trial date of February 24th.
That's right.
I did file leave and I sent it to your chambers as well as the state. And that is inclusive until the 28th. So I would just ask for a start date.
So knowing that we were going to specially set this trial for February 24th, you recently filed requesting a leave during that time?
No, Your Honor, I sent that on, I think,
These
December
niggas like
4th
it.
or December 6th.
Did you say anything to me about that leave when we were here in December?
No, Your Honor, I sent it to Ms. Rosser. I sent it to Mr. Abadi.
But you didn't bother to say to
Took a
the
bait.
judge during the time we were discussing a potential start date, Judge, I've got to leave in?
Your Honor, we didn't have a date at that time. I don't think we discussed a date at that time, but if we did, I apologize. But yes, I did send it to your chambers, and I did send it to the prosecutor.
But while we were hearing
Lord,
these niggas lacking.
this dude, man, Mr. Black needs to get it together. This is the worst look for the defense attorney I think we've seen.
I did
My God.
send it to your chambers, and I did send it to the prosecutor.
But while we were here in court, you didn't say anything about it. You didn't. Y'all communicate with the court
bad.
as much in advance as you possibly can about any potential issues.
It's not complicated.
Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm much more likely to be understanding about things if I know beforehand what I'm dealing with.
And Your Honor, with respect to that,
I would've
now we
fired him
speak
right
about
away.
Funding, I will address another issue, but I would just rather
Okay,
address that directly.
all right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Your Honor. Just wanted some clarification from the court. So, and this goes as far as other cases that I may have. I know I have other cases that are coming up for trial. Some of them are older than this case. Should I consider this case especially set for February 24th?
Well, I don't know, because apparently we've got an attorney with a leave covers through that date. So I don't know. I'll have to look at his leave. And then anybody else with any leaves already filed that I need to know about when I'm trying to decide on a date.
Yo, man, she is on one this morning.
No, Judge.
No,
right.
no leave, Your Honor.
Okay, let me ask y'all this, just terms of kind of procedurally speaking. If we do the tablets with just, the jurors are sitting there filling it out on their own. I know Judge Cox had done a pilot of that in what was going to be a multi-dependent gang case that he had. Everybody ended up pleading before they got very far. But what everyone had agreed to in that case, and what I'd like to propose and see what people think about for this case, is they agreed to first, a kind of summary of this is generally what this case is about, instead of a reading of the full indictment prior to the tablet, what used to be kind of the written questionnaire portion of the trial. Could we think about something like that and potentially agree on that? And then second, there was a videotape of the judge basically saying, the very preliminary things the judge always says, this is a criminal case, here are your basic instructions, answer everything honestly. And I think the jury services people were there, and maybe the judge's staff attorney was there, but the judge wasn't there, the attorneys weren't, for either side weren't there, the defendants weren't there. It was just kind of as though we mailed it out and they filled it out at their home. We wouldn't have been there. Does anybody have objection to, and the reason I'm asking is because if everybody is okay with that just being sort of a procedural thing that they all do, and then y'all get the answers, we could still potentially start our jury selection on the 24th without, if the attorneys aren't going to be there anyway, and we already know what the questionnaire is going to say and what the instructions are going to say, we can have them start going through that process and then not actually worry about the fact that Mr. Dark has a leave-in. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, she's
well, Your Honor, as far as the last matter of jury selection, Mr. Eppinger was part of that at that time, and the attorneys were present while the jurors viewed the video. We were all upstairs in the jury room. Oh,
okay. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. Then I had met with jury services earlier this week, and I guess their recollection was that nobody was there, but I stand corrected.
We were all convened up in the jury services room.
Okay.
And we were there while the jurors watched the video, where we were able to observe they're watching the video, because there are some jurors that other attorneys may mention were asleep during the video, on their phones during the video, or had left out. So that is one reason.
Okay.
I believe it was Mr. Steele that brought it up, that the attorneys needed to be there to observe these things from the jury to assist us in our jury selection process.
All right. So were the attorneys there when the jurors were filling out y'all didn't, I'm sorry, y'all didn't do that with TAP. I was talking about, I'm sorry. I'm being confusing. I wasn't talking about this case. I was talking about Judge Cox's case, where they did it with the tablets. That's what they all ended up deciding. And I'm wondering if we could decide something similar. But, I mean, we don't have to. If we all want to be in some courtroom somewhere.
Well, Your Honor, the last time when we went through the process, there were 28 people in this room, so there were logistics issues and things of that nature. And if the state...
Yeah, he was on winter vacation. He does sound unprepared. I agree. wholeheartedly with.
It is going to parse down the
y'all.
indictment. I don't believe that the video will be 4 hours as it was the last time. So I don't have an objection to showing the video as we did last time and proceeding with the same process.
Your Honor, and previously, everyone was present for
Oh,
the
there's
watching
Ms.
of the
Hilton.
video,
She's
but
back.
when they filled out the jurors' questionnaires, we were not present.
Okay.
They were the jurors were in a separate room. They filled out the questionnaires, and no parties were present during the questionnaire portion, only the viewing of the video, which was the reading of the indictment.
And all that happened during the video was the reading of the indictment?
That is correct.
Okay, so were there any I would propose to give some basic preliminary instructions, I was thinking via video, prior to them even getting handed a tablet by jury services and told, here's your jury questionnaire, you're just doing it on a tablet instead of in writing. Would anybody have an issue with that?
That's what occurred. So the video was first. So the video with some preliminary instructions, the reading of the indictment happened first, and then maybe that following Monday, I believe, jurors came in and they filled out the questionnaires without us. So the video happened first.
All right. I am not wanting to make jurors come back 3 and 4 and 5 different times.
They don't
I'm
wanna come
thinking
back. That's what it
it is not going to be a 4-hour video, is probably not even going to be a 1-hour video. I would like for it to be a summary of the indictment, since they're going to hear the whole indictment later anyway, just like this is a case about whatever we all determine it will say it's about. And then just the preliminary. It's a criminal case. Defendants have a presumption of innocence. You need to be honest on your questions, that kind of thing. And then have jury services say, here's the tablets. Are y'all thinking you want to be present for that? And it's fine if you do. You have a right to be.
Video judge?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it would be.
Okay. All right. Given that, then I probably won't do it as a video. If we're all going to be present anyway, I'll probably just sit there and read the instructions to them.
Makes
Because
sense.
what's the
Or
point of the video if
petition
we're
on
all
the
there?
delays.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then we do have to take into consideration the leave that's apparently already filed.
Not happy about
So
that.
let me look again
Thank you, Samantha and Kelbell.
at our what looks good for dates. As we approach March, I think it starts to be everybody's spring breaks, which a lot of the private schools have spring break that first week in March. So if we're not going to do the last week in February, we might want to jump to the second week in March.
Here we go.
When is the state, when are you going to know in terms of witnesses that you actually intend to use this time around? That's usually a pretrial conference thing, exchanging the witness lists, the final witness lists.
Uh-oh. What y'all got going on?
We can have a condensed witness list to counsel by, let's say, next Friday.
She rolled her eyes again.
These niggas lacking.
Yo, don't mess with Judge Whitaker on Friday. This always happened during the YSL trial. She started out the week fine, and then as the week went along, she was done. Thank you, Michi. Yo, Judge Whitaker, man, we gotta Somebody help her out.
So that's January 24th. Can you have it filed by noon?
Yes, you want to file it? You want to file another? Yes, we can file it. It'll just be.
Or at least exchange it and provide the court with a copy.
Yeah, that Judge Whitaker soundbite is the best for sure.
Mr. Dark, I'm looking for a leave filed, and I'm not seeing one.
Uh-oh.
When was it filed?
Just a moment, Your Honor.
Did he not file his leave? Did he lie to Judge Whitaker? Oh my God.
Ms. Ross, are you with us on Zoom?
This man's about to get obliterated.
Yes, I am. I sent a copy, but I didn't see that it was filed, Judge, until you just mentioned something.
I mean, do you see it filed at this point? I mean, I don't see it.
I am going to check.
And if not, we're going to get an order out today, especially setting this trial for the day we already picked.
Oh my God.
These
Jeez.
niggas lacking.
Whose lawyer is this? He needs to go ahead and ask for another lawyer. Yikes.
Your Honor, it looks like I sent it to Mr. Abadi and Ms. Rosser on the 6th
Of,
December.
did you file it?
It does not look like it got filed that day, Your Honor.
Does it look like it got filed ever?
I believe I'll have to go back through my filings and see if it got filed or maybe rejected. But we submitted it the same day that we sent it to your chambers and Mr. Abadi. But I will go back and double check, but I do not see it in my e-file notifications either.
These niggas lacking.
Neither do I, Judge. I don't see that it's been filed on the docket.
I don't either.
Dang. We're off to a bad start, y'all. This is crazy.
Do you have a copy of it that you could provide to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. I sent it to Ms. Rosser, but
Judge, I forwarded to you about 30 minutes ago in an email.
Okay. It just came through.
But Your Honor, it was originally sent back in.
Dang.
Okay, but it wasn't filed and it's still not filed.
Understood.
Come on, bro.
Wasn't filed, wasn't mentioned, and is still not filed.
This is crazy. It happens all the time, though.
Well, and then I don't. How are we ever going to try this case? You've got leave for a couple of weeks, a month, every month. I mean,
This all right.
That's just
Let's
not
just
gonna-
say, what is going on with this guy?
these niggas lacking.
This dude is garbage. What is going on, man? She said he's got leave scheduled.
Work.
He's got golf trips.
And
It might be
Your
another
Honor,
client.
With respect to that date and the April dates, everything else is movable. But the April dates is what I was going to speak to the court about.
Why don't you just come up here right now and let's speak?
Sure.
All right, let's see this goofball.
Can you go ahead and file the special setting of this case for February, to begin February 24th, please?
Just Whitaker
I'm sorry,
said,
Judge?
"We ain't holding it off any longer."
Go ahead and get an order, especially setting this case, ready to file.
Okay.
Dang. Is this man in here wearing a hoodie? What has he got on? He's got a pea coat with a hoodie. My brother, you've got to do better.
These niggas lacking.
Unless we find out that he's an FBI informant. He's got a class he's got to teach at Quantico that weekend. All right, we're on the delay, so we're going to skip ahead. I wonder what Judge Whitaker's going to say. Yo, this is crazy. They're still talking? I said, Judge, please. I'm just trying to get to the Super Bowl. I'm from Detroit. I think the Lions are going to be in it. Just please. Please let me go. Come on, Paige. You got it. The Honorable Judge Whitaker. Let me put some respect on it.
2nd, 3rd, and then April 28th, 9th, and 30th. And I mean, you know, it's
He said it's a hood lawyer.
possible if we get started, we'll be finished by then, but it's not a guarantee. And if that's the case, we're just going to have to take those days off.
So we're looking at February.
That would be 7, well, it's not going to be 7 weeks of trial because we're going to have to do jury selection, and jury selection is going to take a while.
It's going to take a long time. Jury selection is going to be impossible. I don't know how they pull this off. We have to wait and see.
So we have to work around those dates. All right, if we start jury selection that first week in March, while that is spring break for a lot of people, it'll just be that any potential jurors out there in the Fulton County universe who will have been summoned for that week will already have told jury services whatever their excuse is before they ever get to us. So they just basically will never get to us. And so I guess it won't matter it won't be like we've got jurors saying, I'm on spring break this week, or my kids are on spring break this week. They will already have told jury services and been deferred. So that probably will not be the big problem for us that I had been anticipating. So I'm thinking we plan to start with jury selection on March 3rd. And if nobody is willing to waive watching the giant group of jurors get told the preliminary instructions, then that's when we'll have to start. And then, I don't know, we'll just go from there. Which means we'll have a couple of gaps in April probably for those few days, like during the trial itself. All right.
Wow.
Okay, so y'all are all going to file whatever narrow, small motions in limine specific to whatever these 2 music videos are by noon on Monday. The redacted indictment is going to be ready and shared with defense counsel and the state also by noon on Monday. Or do you need to close a business on Monday? Close a business on Monday. Monday's not technically a work day anyway, since it's MLK Day, but we'll call that 5 p.m. on Monday.
a little extra day.
witness lists to all of us by noon on Friday, January 24th. We will be starting jury selection March 3rd. We will be taking April 21st, 2nd, and 3rd, and April 28th, 29th, and 30th off, if we're still going at that point in time. Beyond those dates, anybody have any
John, there's
dates
three
that
of them.
I need to know right now that are stretching out through the next 4 months, maybe 5 months from now, that is something immovable for y'all? Okay. All right, so that should be our only pause in the trial. Who thinks that's going to be true? Not me. Okay, so we're going to meet, let's see, can the state also have any response they want to file to whatever motions in limine get filed
That's funny.
by next Friday, close of business?
I mean, most likely, I don't, yes.
Okay. All right, so why don't we plan to get back together if need be? I think we need to get back together and check in with each other so that y'all can keep me apprised of how we're progressing.
Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put Judge Whitaker on the big screen.
How about let's plan to have court, let's say 9:30 on Thursday, February 6th, to take up, deal with whatever we need to. Oh, okay. That whole week?
Yes, starting that Monday, I'll be on first case of DeKalb County.
Do you anticipate it that still being going on Friday? Could we maybe do something Friday?
I may be with the jury deliberating at that point.
Okay.
I have no objection to logging on via Zoom if you
Okay.
want that.
All right. Let's do that. Then let's say Friday at 9:30, Friday, February 7th, for we'll just call that pretrial conference also. Anything else anybody needs to bring to the court's attention at this point in time?
Your Honor, Attorney Johnson for Mr. Eppinger. We're just trying to get some
thought she said
clarification
February
as regards
6th.
to the jury questionnaire. I was just wondering, are we going to adopt the one that we used before and people can submit any additions that they want to it, or how is that process going?
Oh my gosh. So the additions, any potential additions, I told y'all in December when we were all here in court, were due
Again?
to me yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I plan to subtract from it. So had you given me any additions to consider, I would consider those. But that
She said
deadline
we
is
ain't doing
passed.
that.
Understood, Your Honor. I guess I was wondering, will we be going through the formal questionnaire line by line to determine if the omissions that you all wish to make for all of us to agree upon?
I had wanted to do that this morning, which is why I asked this morning earlier if anybody had anything they thought could be deleted. And I got kind of a general, well, anything that's not relevant because it has to do with some other defendant, which I'll take a look at. If you've got specifics and you want to go through it right now, we can do that. Otherwise, if you want to just send to everybody over email potential deletions for me to consider, if you could get that
Yes, Your Honor, I'll get that.
to me by the end of the day on Monday.
You'll have it, Your Honor.
Okay. And then I will go through
We'll
and
see.
on the 7th, when we get back together, we can kind of parse it more specifically.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Y'all get to work. Mr. Dark, let's you and I talk about what you might need in
Mr.
your
Dark.
order for
That's crazy.
any kind of funds. So if you'll come on up here. Everybody else is excused, and I'll see y'all on the 7th. Thank you.
All right, so the 7th at 9:30, we got a date. We're going to be back in here. This was pretty uneventful. It was nice to see and hear Judge Whitaker pop off again.
These niggas lacking.
One of our favorite things. Shout out to her. Hopefully these public defenders, or this public defender, gets it together, because this was a rough showing by him and is not a great look when it comes to his client. But beggars can't be choosers, as they say. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. My Lord. All right, we out of there. Shout out to Law and Crime, too, for making that possible. Did y'all miss this seal? Did y'all miss seeing that seal every single day? Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Everybody's in here showing so much love and congratulations. We do have a couple other topics we're going to get into, so we're not quite done with the live stream yet, but I've got some super chats and comments I want to read from y'all as well. Shout out to, where did it go? I think I mentioned it earlier, but Dr. EJ up in here, he gifted 10 memberships. So if you got a membership from Dr. EJ, please make sure you say thank you. Major supporter of the channel, a big part of everything that we do here. So thank you so much. Speaking of, Amber Rain is up in here making it rain with the 5 bomb. Says, congratulations on the 100K. Thank you for such great content. Thank you for being here and supporting as well, Amber. I appreciate you. We've got Samantha Crumbly in the building, drops the 20 bomb. I appreciate you, as well as Kel Bell gifted 5 memberships. If y'all got a membership from Kel Bell, make sure you say thank you. Shout out to Samantha Crumbly. She's tuning into the Song of the Night Live and the Music Morning Show as well, along with Amber and Dr. EJ. So I appreciate y'all that be over here double dipping. Shout out to Kel Bell. I appreciate you. We got Michi in here as well. She said, I'm going to keep saying it. Congratulations on 100K. Aww. At Free Yak Gotti, Fulton County Free Yak Gotti. Oh, man. It's crazy to think that he's still sitting in prison, or still sitting in jail. Hopefully they can get that figured out soon. I don't know what's going on and what issues that Bruce Harvey was having, because we haven't seen any updates there. And he didn't even want cameras in the courtroom. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. And then again, thank y'all to everybody who's saying congratulations on 100K. Gemini Rising, thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, I appreciate it. Who else was in here? I saw my guy Hollywood Co was in there saying congratulations. Becky, thank you. I appreciate that. And Amy saying thank you for y'all saying thank you. Nisha Niche, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who else was in here? There was a bunch of y'all in here. I don't want to go through all of it because I know I'm going to miss some of y'all, but thank you so much. Amy in Texas says, waiting behind, Paige not having it with these defense attorneys. Public defenders are just, yeah, it's different. It's different out there. Jamila, thank you. Felicia, thank you so much. All right, we've got some more topics we're going to get into. We are not done. Hold on, let me get this one in here. We gotta get grandma in here. So even though we didn't have the live coverage of the Naziah Harris trial today, we've still got a topic we've got to get into. And I actually haven't covered this yet. We talked about it a little bit, but we're going to look at the testimony from Naziah's grandmother. And again, for those of you who haven't seen this yet, this is going to be a tough one to hear and listen to. Let me make sure this is paused too. This is going to be a tough one to hear and listen to. So basically, with Naziah Harris's grandmother, she was one of the main caregivers of Naziah, and she's going to give her testimony and kind of give a background of not only their relationship, but what she was seeing and what was going on in the household, and specifically between Neziah and Jarvis. Y'all check this one out.
7-3, also on behalf of Mr. Butts, together with co-counsel Lauren Butler.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Lauren Butler, P88126.
And Mr. Butts, state your full name loud and clear, please.
Harris Butts.
Okay, you can have a seat. Any preliminary matters before we begin the testimony?
No, Judge, not for the people. I do know we have, I believe it was requested a mutual order of sequestration last time, with an exception for the officer in charge, Sergeant Shannon Jones, who's sitting in the courtroom. I would ask that that continue today and for the rest of this hearing.
Okay. Okay. If there's anyone in the courtroom who may testify or is a witness on this case, and that means that also if you may testify at trial, if this is bound over to Third Circuit, you must exit the courtroom now. This is being streamed live also, so if there's anyone on YouTube who is viewing this remotely who may be a witness on this case, you must exit now and not watch the testimony that is about to occur. And of course, that's with the exception of the officer in charge. And with that, you can go to the next witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, people call Annette Harris.
This one's tough. So again, y'all are very sensitive to these types of crimes and interactions between an adult and a minor child. Just be prepared.
Just watch yourself.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch yourself. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Watch your step, walking up the stairs here.
Speak clearly in the mic. You can pick it up and put it in your lap too if you like.
Okay, thank you.
No one ever heard Mr. Makepeace?
Thank you. Could you state your name for the record?
Annette Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone or did you know someone by the name of Neziah Harris?
Yes.
And who is Neziah to you?
My granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Neziah back in 2016.
And that was court work or paperwork filed and all that to legally adopt her?
Yes, it took a process.
Oh.
Yes.
And back in January of 2024, did Neziah live with you?
Yes.
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had Neziah been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Basically, ever since I had her.
Since 2016?
Well, we moved to another house.
Okay, when did you move into the Bedford house?
Let me see. 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
Okay. And did Neziah make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else?
So sad, man.
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids and Shannon.
And who is Shannon?
My daughter.
And what's her last name?
Harris.
And she lived with you and Neziah and the other kids at the Bedford location?
At the first Bedford location.
Okay.
Yes.
At that first Bedford
And people
location,
are cooking Shannon
how many
too.
other kids, in addition to Neziah, lived there?
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
Okay. So how many kids total in that house?
6 children, 6.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time.
Okay.
She would spend more majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
And when you were there in January of 24, how old was Neziah at that time?
January 24th, she had 13. She had her birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning routine with the kids, specifically Neziah, about getting them to school and things like that?
Sure. Okay, 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we're loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include Nizaya? You would drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
They like to eat breakfast
Now,
at school.
I want to talk
Doubt it.
about, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? If you need to stand up, then look around.
The mother was the only ones that are charged are Jarvis and his
I don't see it.
co-worker, or his partner.
Do you need glasses, ma'am?
Yeah, my
Okay,
daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take a moment to go get your glasses?
Yes.
And there's Jarvis back there sitting with his head down. A lot of people, guardians, parents, they just don't pay attention. And they're not involved in their own kids' lives. Sad, man.
May I approach witness, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
And you can just stand up and take another look around.
Okay. Yes.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you
Yes.
point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
Blue uniform with a blue mask.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
Mm.
And may I approach the witness again, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9. And Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever, but he would very rarely come in my house.
And during that time when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any times that he would interact with Nizaya that you saw?
Not that I remember now.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Now I want to talk
There's no
specifically
way.
about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids.
There's no
Did you
way.
follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping Nizaya off at J.E. Clark 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2024?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a 2-piece set.
Okay. And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember, did you have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with the little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime when I bought it. It wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jackets she used when she go to gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition of that hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No,
Okay.
it was fairly really kind of like still new, but she took pretty good care of her things.
Oh.
She probably didn't know.
Yes.
I'm approaching with People's Proposed Exhibit 12. Ms. Harris, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a picture of Nizaya?
Yes.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same day, January the 9th, she took this picture.
Oh, move to admit People's Proposed 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
It will be admitted as People's Exhibit 12.
I think that's the picture of her in
when
school.
you dropped Nizaya off at J.E. Clark, what was the routine supposed to be after school was over?
Okay, well, when school is over, the bell rings at 2:40. Nizaya was due to come home. And normally when the bell rings, 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And that's what she normally did on other days?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry,
And
yes.
what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The desire would be walking in through the door, maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on
All right, keep track of this. Keep track of this timeline. She said normally she would walk through the door at 3:05. Oh, pay attention
January
to
9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Desire not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from the after-school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what hearsay.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, sustain.
Just talking about
Seriously.
what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
about
Shannon said she was not there.
when you got home that day on the 9th, was Desire there?
No.
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
Yes, I did. Yes,
And
I
when
did.
did you do that?
That morning, when I got to school, I went up and dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told them that I was on my way to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police, and the DPS police came there.
She said that morning. What morning? Is she talking about the 10th? Because she disappeared on the 9th. She's saying that morning, the next morning on the 10th, that she notified the police.
When did you do that?
That morning,
Or about the 9th?
Shannon said she was not there.
When you got home that day on the 9th, was Desire there?
No.
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
Yes, I did. Yes,
And
I
when
did.
did you do that?
That morning, when I got to school, I went up and dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told
What?
them that I was on my way
What is that morning? What is she talking about?
to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police, and the DPS police came there.
She's got to be talking about the
And
10th
you said
because she didn't
DPS,
do
is
it
that
that
Detroit
morning.
Public Schools?
Yeah.
She wasn't
And did you
missing.
talk to an officer at that time at the school?
Yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes.
And you said that morning, are you talking about the morning of the 10th?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was Naziah active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was. I mean, there were times that she was sneaking, go on, and but yeah, she was.
Okay. And did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
I tried. A lot of times, I would take her phone and stuff from her, so, to keep her from being on there,
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Naziah?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time, if there was a post or something, or she posts, my daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Have you ever heard after the 9th, ever heard any communication or seen Naziah?
Mm-mm.
When, is that a no?
No.
And when you dropped her off on the 9th at school at J.E. Clark, was that the last time you saw her?
Yes.
May I have one moment?
Yes.
Yo, this lady did not see her daughter because she adopted her. So it was her granddaughter biologically, her daughter legally. She didn't see her for 24 hours and she didn't call the police until after 24 hours had passed. I have no words.
Just to follow up, I did forget to ask this. Her bus stop, how far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
And do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was, the address or the intersection?
Right there at a 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall.
And that's 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
And did Naziah have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her Tuda, but I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her that ever since she was born.
Say Glamour?
Glamorous.
Oh. Hey, what was it?
Yes. You said Tuda?
Tuda.
Tuda.
Mm-hmm.
I know the address. Thank you.
Okay, Russ.
Good morning.
Now, you are Nazia's maternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, right?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her
Insane.
in 2016?
Yeah, should have been 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay. Does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have really no contact with Nazia like that. She only came around now and then.
Okay. And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes.
In fact, I think you testified you lived on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
Correct.
And did not Nazia have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friends over?
No.
Did she ever spend the night at any of these friends' houses?
No.
Okay. And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
No.
Okay. You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house?
Well, not now. When he asked me about the address,
Yes.
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street of Bedford.
Okay.
Okay, so the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
She said not now. Oh, worst choice of words ever. Good Lord.
No, Marquita.
Marquita,
Mhm.
okay. And did Nazia have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which granddaughter is that?
Nazia. I mean, Janaya.
Okay.
All of their names are similar.
And Janaya is Shannon's daughter?
Yes.
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
Correct.
And at your Bedford Street address, how many adults live there?
Just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move in?
I'm sorry.
When did Shannon move in to Bedford?
Oh, I guess back in October, last October or something.
That would be October of 23?
Yeah.
Okay. So in January of 24, she was there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Sorry, is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you indicated that Nazia participated in social media?
She did. She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
Okay. So did you see her post or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posting anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
most
weren't
of the
paying
time when
attention.
She did post something.
You didn't care.
Let me know, if she posted something. But
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
the only person that I know that was one of her classmates that she would post little things with one of her little classmates.
Okay. But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get this lady out of here.
Now, you indicated that you drove Nazia to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school with Nazia?
My other 2 children, Shannon's children.
Okay. And what type of student was Nazia?
Nazia was a very good student. Very manageable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Nazia. Nazia got along with just about anybody.
Okay.
She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No.
Do you recall her ever getting into a
Man, come on. So either this lady just doesn't give a about this kid or she was bad. You're not gonna wait 24 hours for your star kid. So we know things were going on that she didn't know about and didn't want to say. That's fine. But don't sit here and be like, oh, she was just this perfect angel. just to keep from making yourself look bad. Come on, lady.
She did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had a couple of, consultations with in school. And it was like an ongoing situation.
Okay. And when did this first start?
I'm not quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on.
Exactly.
With this particular.
Exactly, Jay. She doesn't want to look bad.
Her current school, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She was a great kid. Please. You don't believe that.
Now, did Nasiah participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she on band or anything?
She liked it. Gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was, involved in,
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school was when she wanted to be enrolled in the after-school program.
Just one. I just want to step back a moment. We asked you about her social media. You said there were some things that you weren't aware of on social media, correct? Did you ever check her direct messages?
Here we go.
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on there.
There was nothing?
No.
Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah, I would, go check,
Okay.
But like I said, a lot of times, I took Nasiah's tablet, from her at one point, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got somebody's cell phone or something,
Okay. So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social
It's
media?
crazy.
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her.
Okay.
And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children that went to
My
school?
two other children and my daughter's children. I dropped them all off.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did nothing. And that morning, I got up. And like I said, I went straight to the school. And from there, I was on my way to the police station to make the report. And
Yeah, the next day, lady. Listen, it's my kid. If I don't see my kid for 30 seconds, and again, I'm not a helicopter parent, but if they're supposed to be somewhere and they're not there after 30 seconds, high alert mode. I'm not trying to figure it out myself. I got my phone ready, 911's on the phone. If I don't find them in 5 minutes, I'm calling. Period.
they called the police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to the police was the next morning?
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called the police?
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, no, stay here. She said, and we'll call the police.
Okay.
And they said, well, hey, maybe the 12-year-old, maybe she ran off. Maybe she's with somebody else. She'll turn up eventually. Who does this? 16, 17, 18-year-old. Maybe I could see it. Someone who's mainly independent, older, closer to adulthood. They have their own car. They're having issues. Fine. But a 12, 13-year-old? Come on, Granny. Come on now.
Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter, Shannon, correct?
Correct.
They did have 5 children, correct?
Correct.
And the children, did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
That part, Zahir.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now, without, I don't want to give too much detail on the kids. What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
In the house.
I have a boy and girl, and you know Shannon has her 3 boys and her 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. Okay.
Jesus. Penny Proud said, I'd be on my adult kids.
Now, I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter would go out to the truck, and a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
Okay. And you indicated that you were close. I'm sorry, you were close with Nasiah?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that Nasiah would not share information with you?
No. Nasiah would come to me and talk to me all the time.
Okay.
If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, you know, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. You know, I always kept the door open for communication with Nasiah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, you know, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating.
Nope.
Stop the cap.
I don't believe her. I do not believe her. If she's the star child and everything was great, we had such a good relationship. Y'all heard she was talking about taking her phone earlier. And she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what was going on. And her daughter would tell her stuff that she was doing. Come on, man.
I always felt free, you know, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Nasiah, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
All right, if something was scaring Nasiah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she would come to me and say, hey, Nana, can I talk to you?
Nah.
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
You take
I don't
her to the
believe it.
hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's my baby. Please. Please.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Can you redirect?
Ms. Harris, I just have a couple more questions for you. When Mr. Reagans was asking you questions, you said that Mr. Butts would come and sit in his car, right, outside your house?
Yes.
And you said that the kids would go out to the car.
Yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Nasiah ever go with his kids out to the car?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
Oh. And Mr. Reagans also asked you about the tablet that you bought with Nasiah. Do you
Yes.
remember those questions?
Yes.
And when, if you can remember, narrow that down, when did you buy that tablet for her?
I bought that tablet for her one Christmas.
Yeah, when she was like 5.
I think it was I think it was in 22 when I bought that tablet, at the end of 22 when I bought that tablet for her.
So December of 22?
Yeah, I think that when I bought that tablet.
So she would have had that tablet for roughly just over a year then, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And did Nasiah also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Nasiah, but she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Nasiah's
Mother.
biological mother?
Yes.
Okay. And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Kenyatta Harris.
Through Kenyatta Harris, Nasiah got access to a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Mr. Reagans also asked you about Nasiah staying after school. You said that there was an after-school program she was involved in?
Yes.
On January 9th and in January of 24, was she still involved in that program?
No, I took her out of it because she was having problems with one of her schoolmates at that time. The same person that he asked me about before that she didn't get along with.
The same person Mr. Reagans asked you?
Absolutely.
Come on, lady. She's lying so much.
No, she was supposed to come straight home.
Ask her, why didn't you call that day? That's what I want to know.
And when she didn't come home, you said that you were driving around looking for her,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what efforts you made on the 9th to locate her?
When I went to the school to go pick my son and daughter up because they were also in the after-school program, picked them up, went back to the house. I thought she was there, and when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, you know, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me. Well, hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Or she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her, so I'm really frustrated now. So now I go back to the house and I'm talking to my daughter.
She was frustrated.
I don't want to stop you right there because I don't want to.
She was frustrated, not concerned. See, this is how you know she's lying. The word she used was frustrated. She did not say she was concerned. She did not say she was worried. She said she was frustrated. Your child is missing and you don't know where they are. And you're telling me this all-star child that got perfect grades, you had a great relationship with, they go missing and you're like, oh, God, can't believe this. Save it, lady. Please.
I don't know what anybody else said.
Okay.
But
She was
you
frustrated.
went back to the school. Nobody was at school. You went back to the house. Nizai is still not there,
It's
correct?
crazy.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I
No.
did.
Okay. Where did you go looking?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her, you know?
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, hold on, Joe.
She was frustrated. See, the truth comes out. You let somebody talk long enough, the truth is going to come out. Who would be frustrated that their 12-year-old is missing? That's crazy.
On the 9th, when you were looking for her,
She's probably like, man, my story's about to come on. I can't believe Naziah did this again. Let me go find this child. I don't even believe she went and drove around. I mean, not that it would be a crime, but I bet because if she drove around, she would have talked to somebody or asked somebody. So she just went looking on her own. Come on, man. This is sad. She's gonna make me miss my story.
On the 9th, when you were looking for her, well, let me ask it this way. Did you know Naziah to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that she went with his daughter.
A couple of times.
Go, clean up at his shop.
And how would they get there?
Take a responsibility,
he would come pick
lady.
him up.
And was that in that white truck that you talked about?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you yourself know where Mr. Butts worked at?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know, where is that?
It was Frank's shop located on Warren, East Warren.
And is that the last place that you knew him to work? Or did you know him to work somewhere else?
I knew him to work there, and then the shop moved to a different location.
Did you know where that new location was?
Personally, no.
Okay. And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for Naziah?
On the 9th, no.
Let me rewind that again.
No.
Did you ever location was?
Personally, no.
Okay.
Just want to replay
And
this.
did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for Naziah?
On the 9th, no.
But she drove all around. She didn't think to go there.
Nothing further, Justin.
Okay, Ms. Harris, we're done testifying. Watch your step. Please exit the box.
Okay. Fine.
All right, so there's Granny. What do y'all think about that, man? Whew, that's a tough one. If my kid, listen, every parent's different, and this is really her grandmother, not her kid, so maybe things are just the wiring's off a little bit when it comes to the relationship that they have. But man, I don't understand how you could go to sleep and rest knowing that your 12-year-old is out there somewhere and you don't know where they are. You don't know why. You didn't have people searching the neighborhood, call the police, the school, something. It's seeming like she didn't really care. I'm not usually one to judge other parents, but in this case, 24 hours is an eternity, and sleeping would not be an option. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments and in the chat. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Shout out to Tay Marie is in here. Appreciate you being here, Tay. Says, can you give a 10-second review what this case is about? Yeah, and I did several videos on it too. If you go watch one of the videos I posted either yesterday or the day before, I talk about this case. Basically, this young girl went missing back in, man, this is hard to talk about. Back in January, and they couldn't find her. As you heard, the grandmother was looking for her. They didn't know what happened. Come to find out throughout this trial, she had a relationship with the gentleman that was involved with one of Naziah's relatives. Not only was she in a relationship with Jarvis, but she was in a sexual relationship with him, and she had gotten pregnant. So as they go throughout the investigation, they find out they were contacting each other and seeing each other on a regular basis. Then more testimony comes out. They have text messages between the two of them, and Jarvis is admittedly one of, if not the last person to see her. So they still haven't been able to find her body. They don't know where she is. The last time Jarvis even attempted to contact her was the day she went missing. Then after that, he didn't attempt to contact her anymore. So we're just going through the testimony now of the people who were around her, what they saw, what they knew. Jarvis did do 10 years before this for crimes against a child and other related charges. Like I think there was a weapons charge he had and other charges like that. So basically, yeah, she's still missing, and the state is wanting to convict him of murder. So that's why we're here. It's very, very sad. And especially as you look at the details throughout this case, it seems, I'm not going to say it could have been prevented, but the people surrounding her, the people in charge of her care could have been more involved. So, it's very sad. It's very sad. Situation is making people who live in Detroit look weird and crazy. I'm from Detroit. Stop the weird acting, including block parties. This could have happened. This could have happened in any city. I don't want to put this particular crime on Detroit. I know from personal experience that this type of thing happens all the time. The only thing that's different about this situation is that she's missing and there's possibly a murder. But when it comes to people turning a blind eye because they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or they benefit from having that person around, or they just straight up don't care, y'all, this is not about Detroit. I'm not going to put this one on Detroit. This is about culture. This is about the type of community that she was in. And unfortunately, she became a victim of that. And it's just sad to see. It's really sad to see. But yeah, thank you for asking that, Tay. And we're going to get into it as the trial goes along. He was supposed to have an arraignment hearing today, but Amy was saying that it's looking like he got roughed up in prison. Jarvis got roughed up in prison, so they weren't able to have the arraignment today. So we're going to have to see what happens with that moving forward. I think Amy said they're possibly going to do it tomorrow, I guess, because they wouldn't be able to do it Monday. So it's interesting. Ashley's in here, said, what happened at court today? You'll have to rewind a little bit, Ashley. It was alleged that he essayed, he was essayed as a child by a woman. Family did nothing. Man. Yeah, they didn't have court today. Delayed till March is what another page said. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you again to everybody who's been supporting too. I appreciate y'all. We've got Who in here? I missed one person. Oh, there it is. Trisha became a gold member. Shout out to the gold member. And speaking of memberships, I've got something I'm working on. I probably, now that we hit 100K, I'll probably announce on Monday. Maybe I'll announce it over the weekend. But anyway, y'all stay on the lookout for that. I'm really excited about it. And it's going to be something fun for a lot of y'all who are on the membership side over here on YouTube already. This is sad. I cried real tears when I heard this case. It's so similar to another case. Okay, interesting. I haven't been following that one. But speaking of this case, I've got another. Let me see where we're at. Man, there was a couple other things I wanted to get to. We might actually be in here for a minute. So y'all hang in there. If you haven't liked the video yet, please make sure you like the video. Not only is it free, but it does help the show continue to grow and lets the algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show and it shares it with more people. We got to get into his business partner. So let me go ahead and we're going to go to another video. Let me make sure we're all good. So as y'all have heard through a couple of the other testimonies, Jarvis and his business partner were pretty close. They knew things that were going on when it came to the business, and he knew a lot of the, God, I don't want to say a lot of the kids that he was surrounded by, but a lot of the people that Jarvis was surrounded by. So we're going to get to hear his testimony and what he has to say about the situation. A lot of his comments are very interesting. Y'all check it out. Let me know what you think.
Okay, any preliminary matters before we begin?
Sad man.
That's just with Professor and Dr. Rossi question.
And the people would ask for an exception for the officer in charge because they in fact charges Shannon.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Thank y'all for the congratulations.
Stand right here, Mr. Wright. Face the judge. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
I do.
watch your step. Do you have his name? Could you spell his first name for me?
CORDELL.
Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning.
And Mr. Wright, do you have a nickname?
Yes.
And what's your nickname?
King.
Is that K-I-N-G?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How old are you?
37.
When's your birthday?
11/17.
What year?
86.
Terrible.
And Mr. Wright, back in January 2024, were you on a MDOC tether?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what dates were you on tether from?
From March 14th, 23 to March 28th of 24.
And what were your tether restrictions back then?
I could leave the house from 6 in the morning. I had to be back in by 9 p.m.
Mr. Wright, do you know someone named Jarvis Butts?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Jarvis Butts?
I first met him, we worked together at a shop called Frank's, and then we owned the shop together.
Okay. And do you see
Yeah, it's
Jarvis Butts in
weird.
the courtroom today?
No?
Would you be able to stand up so you can look around?
Yes. No.
When did you meet Mr. Butts?
2018.
And you said you two worked together initially at a place called Frank's?
Frank's.
All right. Where was Frank's at?
He has a couple locations. He has 7, but the one I met him at was on Warren and Neff.
Warren and Neff. Okay. And
I hope they do
what
too.
Frank's did you work at with Mr. Butts?
Warren and Neff.
Yes.
Mr. Wright, I'm approaching those proposed exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you look at these and tell me if you recognize those?
I recognize this one, and this one.
And those are those a fair and accurate depiction of the Frank's Auto Shops? At least 2 of them on Warren and the other one maybe on Harper?
Yes.
Okay. Which is the one that's on Harper?
The last one on the inside.
Okay. And that's People's Exhibit, Proposed Exhibit 6?
Yes.
Okay. You're not moving the admission of People's 4, 5, and 6?
The objection. No objection here. You'll be admitted as People's Exhibits 4, 5, and 6.
Thank you, Judge.
He said his birthday was in '86. I didn't hear. I don't remember the date. I'd have to rewind.
You worked at Frank's with Mr. Buck.
A few years.
About how many years would you estimate?
2.
And when did that change from Frank's to another shop?
Maybe in 23 sometime.
Okay. Would it be earlier in the year or later in the year?
Maybe mid, maybe in May. Well, maybe April, May.
And then where did you guys work then?
We got a shop together on 9,000 Connor.
And what is at 9,000 Connor?
A Sicko, a car wash, and our shop was in the middle of both.
May I approach?
Yes.
Straight, I'm handing you this Marcus People Proposed Exhibits 7 and 8. Can you look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
Yes, I don't know.
Okay. And are those a fair and accurate depiction of your shop at 9,000 Connor?
Yes, it is.
And you're not with the admission of People's Proposed Exhibits 7 and 8?
No objection. You'll be admitted as People's Exhibits 7 and 8.
Thank you, Judge. Who was it that you mainly worked with at 9,000 Connor?
I'm sorry.
Who was it that you worked with at 9,000 Connor?
Jarvis.
I want to take you back to when you were working at Frank's with Mr. Butts. Did you ever see Mr. Butts with any children there?
Yes.
And specifically, did you see him with any young girl children?
Yes.
And did you know who those were?
Yes.
Who were they?
His daughter, his niece.
Daughters and niece. What about any boys?
That wasn't it.
Yes.
Yeah, there was other ones too.
Sons.
How often would you see him with children there at Frank's?
Sporadically.
And at 9,000 Connor, did you see Mr. Butts with any children then?
Yes.
Any girls?
Yes.
And who would they be?
His daughter.
And what about any boys?
Yes.
And who would they be?
His sons.
And how often would you see him with children at 9,000 Connor?
Sporadic.
And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit police a few times?
Yes, about 4.
About 4 times? Okay. That first time that you talked to Detroit police, do you recall about when that was?
The first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February 13th.
February 13th, and is that of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And at that time, were you presented with a jail call?
Yes.
Okay. And who was that jail call with?
Jarvis.
Okay. And who was he talking to?
Me.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
What was the topic of that jail call?
He called to ask would I receive a cell phone out of a truck for him.
And were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from?
Yes.
What truck was that?
It was a Z71 Chevy Suburban.
And did you know who that truck belonged to?
Yeah, his baby mom or somebody he was dealing with.
And do you recall listening to that jail call?
Yeah, I recall.
Okay. the jail call from, I believe it's February 8th, 2024,
Wow.
between Mr. Wright and Mr. Bugs.
Any objection? No objection.
Shannon is.
Exhibit number, sorry, that's exhibit number 1.
Hold on a second.
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish?
Yes, I need photos.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, here's the call. Yeah, thank y'all for letting it know.
Exhibit 1.
That's it.
This is a one-time free 3-minute call from an inmate at Wake County Jail. Your phone does not accept collect calls. This call has been provided by Helmet as a courtesy for friends and family. You cannot receive additional calls from this inmate until you post prepaid calls. We can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and connect you immediately back to your call. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Press 1 to accept all communications from this. Thank you for using Helmet.
My guy, what's up, man?
Not shit, man. What's happening?
Nah, shit, man. How you feeling? My bad, I missed your call. I was working like a motherfucker.
I figured they said you was up there banging, said something banging.
Yeah, you know it. You know it. You know it.
What's up, my nigga? Who is that, Tim? What's up, boy?
You know it.
Hey, shit. Man, I'm calling, man. Because they put my money on my motherfucking books, bro.
Oh, yeah, take a minute for them to put that shit on there. Even if you walk in with it, man, they be playing it crazy.
Yeah, man.
I swear to God. They just got a machine and shit. You show you straight, you need something. I mean, I'm going to come out and put it in.
Yeah, I have money on my books.
They're putting money on his books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they put this shit on my hookup. I was looking for the tab and they come up $0. That's some bullshit.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
How is it, though?
Man, that's some bullshit. I'm really going to quarantine on this whole shit, bro.
Oh, yeah, they got you on that quarantine club for how long? 3 days?
I don't know how long, nigga. Shit, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch on my part.
You say, what happened?
I said, shit, I'm about to be the remember me and young enough in this motherfucker. We want these foolish on this bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What you need?
Huh?
No, I was acting funny with that customer meeting. Man, listen. You straight?
Yeah, I'm good, my nigga.
Huh?
So yeah, I'm good, oh, shit, yeah. You got a passion number, right?
Yeah.
So, Dig, I'm gonna need you to call her one day, nigga, and get that truck up there, nigga. Get my phone out that back seat, bro.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to get the truck up there. What will tell her?
Tell her you gonna, you fuck around the lost and cried up there, too, when we was moving the, radio.
Okay.
Now,
He said, "Get my phone out of that truck." Tell her to go get the phone out of my
We
truck.
have 1 minute remaining for this call.
reach behind that back seat.
Yeah.
So you reach behind that back seat, bro. The box right there. Straight behind the middle of that back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back
In
thing?
the back, like right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay.
I'm on the second row.
Where's the phone?
You know you took the key. You took the key to the gate.
It's the same key.
I don't got that key to it.
Yeah, you do. It's the same key to the lock and the door.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, it's the same key, bro.
Now, you know I got you. I'll put the money on the phone later, man. When I get around, baby, I will put the credit card. I
call my wife and have her bring it up the tea.
No, I don't need it, though. If you said the same one, I got it. So I don't need it right now anyway. Just when I get the scrap out of there.
Okay.
Mr. Wright, were you successful in getting that cell phone from the vehicle like Mr. Budd asked you to?
She came up there, but no, I wasn't successful. It wasn't there.
Wasn't there? Okay.
When we say she, who are you referring to?
Tasha.
And who's Taki that you know of?
It's an
His
ex.
baby mom.
Okay. Did you look
That's
for it in
his
the
ex.
vehicle?
Yeah, I looked for it.
Okay. And you were unsuccessful at finding it?
Yes.
Garbage.
And Mr. Wright, I want to talk to you now about the second time that you were speaking with Detroit police.
It was not long, a few weeks maybe. I was off tether at that point, I believe.
And do you recall talking about fixing a red Jaguar and going to Ypsilanti?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about how many times did you and Mr. Butts go to Ypsilanti?
I believe it was either 2 or 3.
And tell me about how did that come about? Whose red Jaguar is this?
My son's grandma.
Your son's grandma.
So she called, said she was having some problems with it, and asked if we would come look at it, which is not unusual. We do house calls depending on the person and where it's located, but this is my son's grandma, so of course we don't make the exception. She called and said she was having problems with the car, asked if we would come look at it. We went, assessed the car at her house the first time. I think we made a minor repair there, not to the extent that it was the problem that she was having after the fact.
Okay. So, where is this red Jaguar located when you guys go out to see it?
Mr. My son's grandma driveway in Ypsilanti, off Michigan Avenue, I believe.
All right. And who goes with you out there that first time?
Jarvis.
Okay. Is it just you and Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys go out there and you assess.
Here we go. They're walking it down.
Yeah.
Does it completely fix the car?
For that problem, yes.
Okay. And then is there another time that you end up having to do work on this red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
She drove the Jaguar for a while. It was doing fine. Then she said it was leaking something. I asked her what it was leaking. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she could get it towed to the shop. She said yeah.
Okay. So at some point, this red Jaguar gets towed to your shop at 9000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And who works on it at 9000 Connor?
Me and Jarvis.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing? Do you ever finish fixing the red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing it?
We take it back to her. I called her first and asked her how she was planning on retrieving the vehicle. She said she was going to tow it, and I didn't want to cost her no more money, so I told her that we could bring it.
Okay. And do you recall if that was on or about January 9th of 2024?
It was on.
It was on that day?
Yes.
Okay. So on that day, before you take the red Jaguar back, who was, tell me about how that day started for you.
I woke up. I typically leave the house at 6 because that's what time I could leave. So I went to the gym. I got to the shop probably around 8:30. I don't know who opened the shop. I can't really recall which one of us opened it, but Jarvis may have been there already. A few cars came in. Then the Jaguar probably got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left for a moment. I had another mechanic. Being it's a foreign car, so I had a foreign car mechanic on call to help with the work, but he was busy, so he came, said he wouldn't have time to do it, so I think I Googled it, seen how it was done, and I proceeded taking the water pump off.
Okay. So you were working on the Jaguar, and is Mr. Butts at work that day?
Yes, he was there.
Okay. What do you guys, you and Mr. Butts, do as it relates to work?
They might have been doing it together. You're all right. Could be.
I think we had a few cars that came in that needed some minor repairs. Between that and the Jaguar, we was jumping in and out of the Jaguar job, and the cars that could pull it up, maybe oil change, tune up, whatever, et cetera, so forth it was. But we was mainly working on the Jaguar, trying to get the water pump off, as it is a hard job to do.
And do you always have all of your parts on stock or on your person in stock with you?
No, we call either AutoZone, Mansfield, one of the auto stores that has them.
Okay. And did you have to go get any auto parts on January 9th?
Yes, we had to go get the water pump for the Jaguar, as well as some other parts, I believe, for other cars.
Okay. And when you go and get parts, is it usually just one of you, both of you, or something else?
That depending. If it's a car there, then one of us will stay. If it's not a car there, we go together sometimes.
Okay. And on January 9th of 2024, did you guys, did one of you guys go to the auto parts store, or did you both go?
We both went.
Both went? Okay. Tell me what happens when you go to the auto parts store.
Before that, I called them. They ordered the water pump, so we went and picked it up when they called and said it was in. We got in the truck, went to AutoZone, got the water pump. On our way back from AutoZone, I believe we forgot something, so we ended up turning back around, going back to AutoZone, grabbed whatever we forgot, came back.
What'd you forget?
And on our way back, We was coming down Harbor. Jarvis said, "I see my niece right there. She walking." We pulled into Angel's liquor store. I still didn't see her. He pointed across my face, said she right there. She was coming across the street at that time. She got in the truck with us. She spoke. Hi King, hi Jay, and we proceeded back to the shop.
Okay. So, when you guys are driving to these auto parts stores, who's driving?
Jarvis,
Okay, and where are you at?
passenger seat.
Okay. And you said when you guys are heading back to the back
While
to
she
the shop
walking.
the second time,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you said Jarvis spots someone.
Yes,
Who does he say that he spots?
his niece.
His niece. Okay. And do you recognize his niece?
Yes, when I see her, when he pointed her out to me, yes, I recognize her walking across the street.
Okay. And so you guys pull over. Where does she get into the car at?
I believe she getting the behind me, so the back seat behind me.
Does Jarvis say anything to her?
Yeah, she speaks to both of us, and we speak back.
Okay. What does he say to her?
Hi.
Hi. And where do you guys go after you pick up his niece?
Back to the shop.
Okay, that's at 9,000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you guys do when you get back to 9,000 Connor?
He back in. We get out. We proceed to working on the Jaguar. I may have got out the car first with the parts, and he was in the car with her for a second. I got out, started working on the Jaguar.
And where did he go?
Does what happens next? What do you guys do?
I believe she get out, get into the front seat, reposition herself to the front seat of his truck. It was colder that day. I believe she started the truck. We started working on the Jaguar, putting the parts back on. It took a little minute. Like I said, it was a difficult job, so it took a while. At some point, I believe his truck ran out of gas, so we had to stop what we were doing to push his truck to the gas pump so he could get some gas.
So this story makes no sense. So they go back, and Naziah was sitting in the car. She turned the car on. She was in the front seat because it was cold that day. And they were out there working on the car for some time. And she was just sitting there. And then the car ran out of gas. So they had to. This doesn't make any sense.
So you said that she gets out of the car that you guys were in?
Yes.
Okay, and then she gets into Jarvis' truck.
No. We was always in Jarvis' truck.
Okay.
So she gets out of the back seat and repositions herself to the front seat, so she can start the cover.
And tell me, what kind of car or what kind of truck does Jarvis drive?
Escalade.
Okay. And what color?
It's pearl white.
This makes no sense. So she was just hanging out in the car? What?
What, if you can see, what is his niece doing while you guys are working on the shop, at the shop?
I believe she's on her cell phone, I believe.
For a while? She's just sitting there on her phone.
Does Jarvis ever take his niece anywhere that, like, while you guys are working at the shop?
No.
No, okay. Did you ask him if he was going to take her
Come on,
home?
man.
I believe I asked him was he gonna drop her off when the truck ran out of gas. We had to push it to the pump. It was just a distraction from work, so I asked was he gonna drop her off. He said no.
That's weird. No, she's gonna stay with me.
Do you finish working? Do you finish working on the Jaguar that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens after you finish up on the Jaguar?
I called my son grandma and asked her how she was gonna retrieve the vehicle. She said she was gonna tow it back. I told her she didn't have to do that. That was just spending extra money. So I asked Jarvis, was it all right if we dropped it off? He said yes. And we started making preparations to do so.
Do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Probably around 7:30ish, somewhere around there.
So 4 hours they were sitting there? Didn't he say 3 something?
When do you guys eventually leave the shop?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about Who all leaves the shop?
Me, Jarvis, and his niece.
Okay. And tell me about the driving arrangements.
So I drove my 300, and Jarvis drove the Jaguar.
And where was his niece at?
She was with him in the front seat of the Jaguar.
Now, are you able to recall what his niece looked like that day?
Yes. Faintly, but yes.
Do you remember what kind of clothing she was wearing?
I remember she had her jacket on. Like I said, a coat. It was cold, so I think it was colorful.
Colorful?
Yeah.
This is wild, man. How could you not know? Something seemed off.
And you're may I approach?
Yes.
And Mr. Wright, I'm approaching the people's proposed exhibit 2. And I'm going to direct you to the top left corner. Can you tell me, is there anything that you recognize in that?
The jacket in Channel 1.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you've seen his niece, Jarvis's niece, wearing that day?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 2.
Any objection? Objection. To be admitted as people's exhibit 2.
Thank you.
That doesn't surprise me, Danny. Danny saying that he entered a not guilty plea.
And then showing you its marked appeals code.
Shocker.
3. Do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes.
Thanks.
Correct,
And
Mimi.
is that a fair and accurate depiction of Jarvis's niece as you remember seeing her back on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the same niece that went with you to Ypsilanti?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 3.
No objection. Okay, to be admitted as people's exhibit 3.
Thank you.
So, I mean, why was she just walking down the street, and did they not know where she was or care? I don't know. Y'all gotta let me know what you think about this. She was just walking down the street and Jarvis picks her up. So did she say she was going somewhere else? Did she normally walk the streets? Was she in contact with anybody else? Something had to have happened that day. Or maybe that was just regular. I don't know.
So, you guys are driving to Ypsilanti. You said you're driving in your 300, and Jarvis is driving the Jaguar with his niece.
Yes.
Okay. About how long does it take you guys to get to Ypsilanti?
It was raining that day, so about 35 minutes.
And when you get to Ypsilanti, what do you do?
We get out, we park the car, get out, we go in. My son's grandma and I believe his auntie was there as well, so they greeted us. They'd spoken to him before, so they greeted him. And then my son's grandma asked who the little girl was.
And did you introduce the little girl?
No,
Okay. Who introduced the little girl?
Jarvis did.
And what did Jarvis introduce her as?
His niece.
And about how long do you guys stay in Ypsilanti?
Not long, maybe 15
Afternoon,
minutes or so.
everyone.
My son auntie had to go get the rest of our money that my son grandma didn't have, so she went to the ATM.
What do you guys do when you went to the ATM?
Talking. Talking. She was just telling us about other work she needed to do around her house, etc., so on and so forth.
Okay. And was Mr. Bucks with you the whole time?
Yes.
So, you guys eventually leave Ypsilanti?
Yes.
Yeah,
And tell me about the
probably.
driving arrangements coming or leaving Ypsilanti.
At this point, we only have one vehicle, which is mine. We get in, drive us in the front. I believe Naziah sat behind me.
Check behind you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there any kind of talking or conversation when you guys are driving?
No, I got sounds in my car, so no.
He has what in his car?
And do you recall about what time you guys, I guess, where do you guys go when you leave the plant?
Back to 9,000 Connors.
Okay. And do you recall about what time you guys get back to 9,000 Connor?
Probably around 8:45. I was cutting it close on the tether.
What do you do when you get back to 9,000 Connor?
Opened up the shop door where he left. He left his truck in one of the bays, so we opened up that bay door. Went through the
remember the
gas station,
script.
that's the way we entered the shop. Went through the gas station, opened the shop, opened one of the bay doors. I went to the back and started splitting money that we had made for the day, and separating the receipts, etc.
Where do you see his niece go?
Getting this truck,
Do you recall where at his truck she got into?
passenger seat,
Is that front passenger, back passenger, or something else?
front passenger.
And where's Mr. Butts at?
Back in the back with me, separating the cash.
And
Nope.
when you leave, do you lock up the shop?
No, I left first.
You left first. Okay. So when you leave,
Wasn't his eyes still there?
Jarvis and his niece.
do you see them leave the shop at all?
No.
Man. Well, y'all have fun.
And have you seen, or have you seen Jarvis's niece, the one that was with you on the 9th? Have you seen her since January 9th, 2024?
No.
Now I want to talk about the day after that you guys went to MC, so January 10th.
Wow.
Do you recall if Mr. Butts was at work that day?
I don't think he was.
What makes you think that he wasn't?
I believe he called me like 3 times, 4 times. No reason for him to call me if he was standing right next to me.
Judge, I don't think he's speculating, but not playing police.
Let it go, man. Judge, don't. Are you gonna strike that? Let him talk.
Yes. So you said that you don't believe he was at work because he was
He
calling
has speakers.
you so often?
He
Yeah,
called me.
sound
We had
system.
a 30-minute conversation on one account, and then we had another conversation about 15 minutes. So
So that makes you believe in your mind that he was actually on the scene?
What's the question first?
Yeah.
That's based on those conversations, in his mind to him, that means that Mr. Butts was not at the shop with him. I don't think that's leading.
It's stating a conclusion.
The city already stated that he wasn't at the shop. We didn't believe him. So I'll overrule.
Thank you. You can.
one more time, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So based on the length of those phone calls and the times of them, did that make you believe that Mr. Butts was not at the shop?
Right.
Did Jarvis Butts ever mention to you about his niece being missing?
No.
Have you talked to Mr. Butts aside from that jail call that we played?
And I can't imagine they would have cameras at the shop, especially knowing what was going on.
No.
And do you know someone, do you know any of Jarvis's siblings?
Yes.
And which sibling do you know?
I met his brother and I met his sister.
You talked to his sister. Well, start back. Do you remember would his sister ever come to the shop?
Sporadically.
Sporadically, okay. And are there times that you talk to her?
Yes.
Okay. And had you talked to her about Jarvis's niece being missing?
He was playing
after
music. Yeah, I got it.
The police questioned me. I believe she came up there and we spoke about it, yes.
Mr. Butts in the courtroom, so that you couldn't see him.
Yes.
Fair? Okay. May I approach? Yes.
Ah, we missed the picture. Hold on, I'm trying to see what the picture is. Okay, it looks like a picture of a person, maybe?
May I approach?
Okay, it's a dude in the picture.
And I'm showing you People's Proposed Exhibit 9. Can you tell me if you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And who is it in that photo?
Jarvis.
Okay. That's Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Now I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 9.
Okay, give it as People's Exhibit 9.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Mr. Wright, I kind of want to direct your attention back to People's Proposed Exhibit 3. People's Exhibit 3, I'm sorry. Can you see it from here where I'm holding it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know who this person in this photo is now?
Yes.
And who do you know her as now?
Nazaya.
Now that's a picture of her from in school.
And the next time that you see Jarvis Butts after January 9th, 2024, do you see any injuries on him?
No, I don't believe I've seen it.
Really for the judge. Okay, Ross. Thank you.
So when it comes to his story, before we get to Cross, what do y'all think about his entire story of what went down? I don't know. Some of the pieces in there are missing to me. I get that they were already meeting up, but how would she? A lot of it doesn't make sense. And then she just sat in there. It was that late at night. They were alone. And his partner was just like, yeah, I mean, whatever, I'm leaving. He wasn't curious why she would. That's wild, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. That's odd.
You said that, I believe, in your testimony that you have known Mr. Butts since about 2018, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said you met at Frank's, the shop that you looked at.
That's correct.
And you said you guys worked together at Frank's for about 2 years?
That's correct.
And so that means that in about 2020, you opened up the shop on Connor? Is that?
No, in 2021, I went to prison.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't work together for that period of time.
And I can't find.
I came back.
I can't find any information on what he went to prison for. I'm sure the investigators in the community will be able to find out, but there's no public information on what was going on with him at that point.
So that's why we didn't work together for that period of time.
And so you came back
I came back and we went back to the same thing.
at Frank's?
Yes.
And then what year was that?
That was 2023.
Okay. And so then how long after you came back were you, the two of you at Frank's together?
Maybe a few months to maybe like the middle of the year. So maybe around either June. It was before summer, so maybe around April. It was still a little cold outside.
Okay. So like early spring.
Violence against a pregnant woman.
2023 is when you said that you think that you opened up the shop at 9
Yes, it could have been earlier than that, but yes, around about.
And so you became
That's crazy.
business partners?
Yes.
Did you get the business
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Okay. You also consider Mr. Butts a friend at that point?
Yes.
As far as the business arrangement, you said it was a 50-50 split. Did you split it every day at the end of the day? Or?
Every day at the end of the day.
Now back around the beginning of 2024, maybe the end of 2023, were you seeing a woman in Clinton Township?
A woman in Clinton Township?
Yes. a friend of a woman named Shannon Harris?
In 24?
Yes.
No.
Or ever?
That's what it sounds like, Jessica.
When were you
Yeah.
seeing her?
This probably was 2000 and maybe 19 or 20
So before you went?
before I went to prison.
Okay. Did you and Mr. Butts ever have a falling out about that?
No.
Cordell Robinson Wright, born November 17th, 1986, has a history of domestic violence offenses in Michigan. According to the Michigan Department of Corrections Offender Tracking Information System, or OTIS, Wright was convicted of domestic violence, third offense, for an incident that occurred on December 19th, 2007 in Washtenaw County. He received a probation sentence of up to 3 years. Okay, so that wouldn't be it. More recently, Wright was convicted of domestic violence and or knowingly assaulting a pregnant individual. Some upstanding citizens we have here. Third offense, for an offense committed on July 3rd, 2019 in Wayne County. He was sentenced on October 19th, 2021 to a prison term ranging from a year and 6 months to 5 years. His earliest release date was March 11, 2023, and his maximum discharge date is September 26, 2026. All right, so a little bit of background on Mr. Wright there. So Amy mentioned it. Is this someone you think could commit violence against a child? Was he involved in some other way? I don't know.
Now, you and Mr. Butts, did you talk about your personal lives?
Sometimes, yes.
You spent days at work together, right?
Right.
So presumably it came up.
Of course.
Talk about girlfriends.
Of course.
Did women often come to the shop looking for Mr. Butts?
Sporadically.
Did he talk to you about the various women that he would be seeing or juggling, maybe?
That happened.
Okay. Did it sometimes cause drama at the shop?
It happens.
Women would come up and confront Mr. Butts,
It happens.
maybe about other women that he was seeing?
It happens.
What does that mean? It
Did you ever
happens.
feel like that was affecting the business?
Not at Frank's.
What about at the business that you owned, Connor?
No, it didn't happen as much.
Didn't happen as much in Connor?
Right.
Now, sometime, I guess, while the two of you were working together, you had a friend that was, I guess, talking to or trying to date one of Mr. Butts' daughters. Is that correct?
That happened.
The daughter was 21, 22.
She was somewhere around there. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, around that age, 20, 21, 22.
And that caused an issue for Mr. Butts.
It did.
He got pretty upset with his friend.
It did. I was in prison at the time, so, but yes, I was involved directly.
Okay. Did you ever hear about an altercation that happened between the two of them?
Some kind of altercation did occur, yes.
All these dudes, man. It seems like everybody in that circle was just doing a lot of stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. So his friend was messing around with one of his daughters. Jesus.
Was it your impression that Mr. Butts was pretty protective of her?
Yeah.
It's ironic.
Based on that.
Do you know how many children Mr. Butts has?
13?
And you said that some of them would come to the shop.
Yes, that happened.
You're familiar with them?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to name all of them, but at the shop on Connor, you said his sons would come,
His son will come sometimes and stay today with us.
and his daughter.
She'll come sometimes and stay today with us.
That's
What's her
crazy.
name? Do you recall?
That is insane.
No, I don't want to misname it.
Okay.
I think it's something with a J or something like that, though, but I'm not 100% certain.
Was she like a teenager?
He has a teenager. She come up there sometime, but not really. The littlest one, maybe 9, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Okay. And then his niece would also come?
Yes.
Would she come typically with his own children?
When I first met her, yes, that's how I met her with his daughter. She would always come with his daughter. They would come up there.
It's true, Danny, at least.
Maybe money, just typical kid stuff.
Did he ever, or did the two of you ever have them like doing chores around the shop?
Sometimes.
Did Mr. Butts talk to you about his children?
Yes.
Did he talk about spending time with them?
Yes, I believe he lived with the majority of them.
And you said that, you mentioned Tasha, she's one of the mothers of some of his children,
Yes.
correct? Was that who he was living with at the time?
No, I don't believe so.
Now, you said, I believe in your testimony, that you had been to Ypsilanti twice with Mr. Butts. Is that
That's a good point, locked in.
Yes.
possibly could have been 3?
It could have possibly been 3. I'm not 100% certain.
It's a good point, Mika.
Now, one of the times that his niece was at the shop was, you said, on January the 9th.
First time I seen her by herself, yes.
That's because y'all picked her up on Harper?
Yes.
Did Mr. Butts seem surprised that he saw her?
I'm not sure. I couldn't really, we was riding. I wasn't really paying attention to his expression. He just said, hey, there go my niece. I didn't see her, so he pointed her out to me.
He said, oh, look, there she is.
His niece, correct?
Yes.
You didn't have any idea what her name was at that time?
No.
And in fact, the reason you learned her name was when you identified that picture that was just shown to you and the police told you what her name was. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Come on. There's no way.
Now, in the time that you were at the shop on the 9th with Mr. Butts and his niece, did you see any inappropriate behavior or anything that made you raise your eyebrows between the two of them?
No.
What about any of the other times that his niece would have been there at the shop? Did you ever see any behavior that made you question or thought was inappropriate?
I can't say I have.
It's crazy.
Now, the 3 of you wrote back.
Yeah, he's got 20
on
kids.
January 9th. That was your testimony, right?
Yes.
Was there any conversation between Mr. Butts and his niece in the car?
There was no conversation between really nobody. I had the music on.
And I'm going to back up to earlier in the day when the 3 of you came to the shop the first time after you picked her up on Harper.
Okay.
You said that she pretty much stayed in Mr. Butts' car the whole time.
Yes.
She said she was on her phone.
Yes.
Did you ever leave the shop at all after that before you guys went to Ypsilanti?
Maybe in the gas station?
So not really, just the attached gas station?
Yeah, maybe to the gas station. I'm not sure if I actually physically left the building. I'm not sure.
Would it have been for more than like 5 or 10 minutes?
If I ever left, no, maybe to use the bathroom, so maybe 10 minutes tops if I had to leave.
You never went out to grab parts at any place that you can recall?
Not that I can recall.
Now, after January 9th, what was the next time you said that you saw Mr. Butts?
The 11th.
The 11th. Okay. He was not at work on the 10th?
No.
Okay. Were you there on time on the 10th? Do you recall?
I'm never on time.
What time did you come in on the 10th?
Probably about 8:40. I go to the gym, so we open at 8, but I'm never there at 8, so I probably got there maybe 8:49.
Upstanding gentleman.
On the 10th, were you the one that opened the shop?
Yes.
Now, you were aware at that time that Mr. Butts was supposed to turn himself in to serve a jail sentence in William County Jail. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
You had talked about that, obviously, because he was going to leave the business for a while.
Correct.
Okay. And you actually went to the courthouse on the day he turned himself in to support him, right?
Yes, I was there.
And he was going to be serving time on a gun possession charge, is that right?
That's correct.
Or is it, if you know?
That's correct.
Okay. And because you were kind of paying attention to what was happening, you understood that the court date had gotten changed a few times?
Yeah, he told me that it had changed. So I believe he was supposed to get sentenced on the 9th, but it got pushed back to February.
This is crazy.
7th, so I learned that through him. I didn't go to court with him that time, but just when he got sentenced, I went to court with him that time.
Are you familiar with any court dates that he had out in Clinton Township around that time?
He did say he had something going on with his daughter, I believe. I believe it was domestic with his daughter of some sort. So yeah, I was familiar with that, I believe.
Was he going to court for that at that same time?
Around about, I believe it was supposed to be, yes.
Okay. Now, you got involved because at some point you became aware that the Detroit police wanted to talk to you back in February.
They came to the shop and picked me up
Okay, they actually took you down.
to headquarters.
Okay, and that was the first time on February 13th, is that right?
That was February 13th, day before Valentine's Day.
Then you said you spoke with them again a couple days later.
Yes, I was believe the first time I spoke with him, I was still on tether, so it had to be sometime after I was on tether. Yes.
And then you spoke with them again in March, right?
Yes.
And was that a phone conversation?
No, all of our conversations was via person.
I love how all these people are acting like they were just clueless and no, everything was fine. Come on. It's frustrating to hear, man.
Did you also speak with the police
Yes.
and the prosecutors?
I don't know if a prosecutor, but yes, I believe she was there.
As far as you can remember?
Yes.
Now, in February, when you were talking to the police, by that time, had you seen anything on the news or on social media about who you later learned was Mr. Butt's niece?
No.
So at the time you were interviewed by the police, you didn't know anything about it?
No.
And at the time that you were talking to the police, while you were on tether in February, you were on tether because you were on parole, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you had about 3 weeks left on parole at that point.
Not 3 weeks in February.
Yes.
I had 3 weeks left on tether.
Shout out to
I
Kevin
got off
Williams.
actual parole in May.
Okay. So the tether was coming off, but you were still going to have to report.
3 more months after the tether came off.
And in February, I believe it was the second conversation that you had with the detective, presumably, you and the officer, or the detective, spoke about the tether, right? Do you recall that?
I believe so, yes.
Because you were concerned every time you would go somewhere, you would be late, you were very
Oh, yeah,
about
yes.
being home on time.
Right.
And in fact, he actually said, hey, we'll take care of you if anything pops up, right?
He said, I talked to your PO, so you're fine.
Okay. And he also kind of warned you that you didn't want to get somebody upset about the way you were answering these questions and have somebody feel some kind of way about you. Do you recall him saying that to you?
He may have said something to that extent. I'm not sure, though.
Of course not.
This is the first conversation.
Selective memory.
You asked me
The
about.
second. Right at the top of the conversation.
I can't really recall every word. I know they were a little agitated. I was a little agitated. It was a lot going on, so maybe.
It's possible that conversation.
It's possible.
Did you understand any of his statements while you were talking to him to mean that the police wanted you to give answers, and if you didn't give answers, that
Can we hear the conversation?
or your tether status?
Also speculation,
It goes in his state of mind.
but he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah,
What
that's
he believes might happen and could impact.
it's gonna be sustained.
Was it your understanding that if you didn't give certain answers, that the police might impact your parole or your tether status?
There you go. It's a good question.
Was that a concern of yours?
I mean, it was already affecting my tether, so I wasn't really, you know what I mean, concerned about.
We don't know
how
what
he
you
placed his
mean.
Questions upon
My
me,
guy.
you know.
Not
So
my
I
guy.
mean, more of the concern was my being picked up by the police.
Bro.
Police contact is a violation of parole within itself, so I was violated for the police contact, irregardless to whatever he was saying. You get what I mean? So, no, I don't believe it impacted anything at all, actually.
But your parole wasn't actually revoked because they took you to the station and interviewed you, right?
No.
Now we talked a little bit about this.
They didn't care.
So
It's true.
Mr. Butts was juggling a few different women during the time you knew him.
Yes.
And it's hard to keep up with all his baby mamas.
Yeah, and a tether is basically just an ankle monitor with a GPS tracker, so it knows where you're at when you're there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't my job, so yeah.
And ladies that weren't his baby mamas.
Right.
Did you get the impression from Mr. Butts that he didn't want these women to know about each other?
He didn't care.
Of course.
He did not
A
care.
woman named Tasha was one of Mr. Butts' ladies.
Yes.
And that was one of his baby mamas.
Yes. To my belief, yes.
So there was some discussion about a phone call between you and Mr. Butts while he was at the jail about his phone, right?
Yes.
And after that phone conversation, Tasha actually came into the shop to get some work done on the car.
Yes, she came to get a oil change in the headlight.
and that's when you went and kind of looked for the phone.
Yes.
Now, you didn't really want Tasha to know that you were looking for the phone, right?
Of course.
And the reason for that was,
She's gonna wonder why I'm looking for a phone.
and was it your impression that Mr. Butts was afraid it would reveal that he was talking to other women?
Of course.
And so you're
Shannon was
trying to help
definitely
him
jealous. Yeah,
keep peace?
Of course.
it's weird.
I think the testimony was on the night.
Killed her at the shop.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an issue during the day. Mr. Butts had his escalator there. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he had run out of gas.
Yes.
And he had to get gas. Is that right?
That's correct.
At some point, you pushed him to the or helped push the escalator to a gas pump.
Yes.
Do you recall leaving with him that night and going and getting gas together?
For his truck, or what we saying? Or for like a gas can? What do you?
Well, either one. Did you all leave the shop to, and perhaps you in your vehicle and he in his vehicle and end up at a gas station
No.
on the night?
No.
You don't really remember much of that?
I don't remember nothing. No.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Can you redirect? Okay. Mr. Wright, you are going to testify.
Thank you.
All right, so that's his business partner. Story's not making sense to me. Something's not adding up. As smart as he, how can these people claim that they're this smart and this observant and they noticed all these other things, but they didn't notice the relationship between Jarvis and Naziah? You could not possibly hide it. And especially with her being a kid, y'all know how kids are. They can only hide so much. But the sad thing is, as the judge said, so many people in her life failed her. They didn't care. They didn't think to raise concern. His own business partners, who God knows what he was into or doing, just turned a blind eye. Left the shop, left him there with the 13-year-old late at night after she had been sitting there for several hours, according to him. It was like, hey, see you guys later. Y'all have fun. I don't know what's going on here. Why she's been hanging out, just sitting in the car on her phone for multiple hours. As she was walking down the street conveniently, we picked her up. But hey, y'all have a good time. Very sad, man. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments and in the chat. We got a celebrity in the building. Cat Not Williams is up in here. Shout out to Cat Not Williams stopping by and showing some love. If y'all are not subscribed to Cat Not Williams, what are you doing? Make sure you go over there, subscribe, watch every single video that she has. Watch it all the way through. Like it, comment, share it, watch all the ads, because if you don't, I will find out and I will come and find you. So a big shout out to Cat Not Williams over here. Always good to see her. And she was live streaming earlier, covering what was going on with the YSL trial. I didn't get to catch it, but I'm gonna definitely catch the replay because I want to see how she reacted to Judge Whitaker. Judge Whitaker, she's good for about Monday or Tuesday. After Monday or Tuesday, she seems to fall apart. It's just pretty funny. But in her defense, it was well deserved. All right. So shout out to y'all. Spam Cat Not Williams in the chat. I had a couple other things I wanted to get into, but man, unfortunately, we might have to get out of here. Should I cover it? Should I cover this real quick? I think we might save that. We might hold on to that. We got a couple other stories we're going to cover as well. Make sure if y'all haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or post a new video. Of course, I'll be posting videos throughout the weekend, and we just hit 100K today. So thank you to everybody who subscribed and made that possible. I appreciate y'all. We've got some news coming up soon. We're going to be doing some new things here on the channel, so make sure you stay locked in for that. And if you're subscribed, you'll see the announcement everywhere, either over the weekend or this coming MLK Day. All right. And if I don't see y'all later on this evening for the Song of the Night live, I will definitely see y'all in the next video, in the next live stream. I appreciate all of you. Hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. And as always, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Appreciate y'all. 100K, man. Ooh wee. Insane.